Hey chaps, the name is Lorenzo. I was the organizer for UKIP Oxfordshire, and in this video I want to bring to you the reason why some of the members are trying to call for an emergency general meeting against the NEC. I've been thinking about doing this video for a while. I wasn't really keen at first because I didn't really want to bring these to the general public. It just feels like whatever issues within UKIP should be discussed within UKIP. One thing really struck me though when I went to an EGM a month ago. I chaired this EGM work calling for the NEC removal, and I got there. Some people that were actually in support of the EGM didn't really know the full extent of what they've done wrong. Whereas some other people, they didn't even know that they've done anything wrong. It just feels like the NEC has been in control of the communication all along. And for that reason, there is a good part of the membership that have no idea what is going on. The NEC has prevented any communication from going out. And for this reason, they're just unaware. So I made this video specifically for those people. If you're unsure about the full extent, if you have no idea about what happened, this is to give you the full extent of the picture. Now, I'll try to keep all the commentary to myself, and I will give you strictly the fact. I'm going to tell you what happened, why it happened, not why, what happened, and what rules violate. You make up your own mind. Now, this all starts with Gerard Button. He was appointed, he led for a year and a half, and he brought the membership up again. UKIP was vanishing. Matter of fact, I think before Button, the membership was below 17,000 people. After Button, it went up through 30,000. He finally made UKIP relevant again. However, the NEC didn't agree with him as leader. We had new election after he stood down, as he agreed to stand down, and he was like, you know what, I want to stand up for the leadership election. And the NEC went, no, we're not allowing this. You are now in bed standing. And that came as a surprise to everyone. Nobody had discussed Button being in bed standing. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, right at the moment that he puts forward his application for leadership, he's in bed standing. It sounds all a bit dodgy. The reason was they say that he consulted with people that are not, they don't share the message of the party and all of that. Pretty much, since he was with Tommy Robinson, he brought the party into disrepute. I'll get back onto that later, because there's a couple of key bits that shows the hypocrisy of these people, but at the right time. For the moment, let's move forward. August 19, at this point, Button is prevented from standing. Richard decides to stand on a Button ticket, and he goes, elect me as leader and I'll give you Gerard. This doesn't go well with the NEC, but they can't do anything to stop him. So Richard is elected with 53% of the votes. At this point, Richard asked for Gerard as chairman, but he's prevented. They refuse him on the ground that he's in bed standing, and so for that reason, he can be appointed. The reason that way to bring him back from bed standing, there are no procedures. Nobody can be asked to actually go through that, and so they go, you know what, fair enough. At that point, Richard decided to appoint Liz Phillips. Liz Phillips is refused. I think it was Pierce that went on to explain in the speech at the conference how they refused her because they didn't want to have both the leader and the chairman that were both Tommy Robinson supporter or whatever, which is insane. Because Richard, if anything, has always been against it. But hey, his words, not mine. Check, you can find a video on the UKIP channel for a conference. Anyway, at this point, by constitution, Richard is allowed to propose to the NEC a chairman, the NEC is allowed to refuse the proposal. However, the leader may then request that the matter be referred to an EGM of the party. The NEC refused it. They refused him a constitutional right on the ground that the wording in the Constitution is that the party leader may request that the matter be referred to an EGM. So they were like, well, you requested it, and we just denied your request. It just goes to show how these guys are so far removed from reality. The whole idea is that the leader proposed someone, the NEC doesn't agree, and the leader goes, no, I really want this person. We go to an EGM. Why we go to an EGM? Because obviously there is a fracture at the top, and you need to find out from the members who they want to follow. So as the members, we should have gone to the EGM and say, yep, we approve of Richard. No, we actually think that the NEC has done a right call. The problem is that at this point, the NEC were afraid of the membership, so they refused him outright. Now, while their decision might be within the letter of the law, as, say, it may request, they cannot deny that request. The spirit is that if there is a disagreement, the party leader may decide to put it to the membership, as the membership should have had the final say. In so doing, NEC has violated the Constitution. Now, what's worse is that 3 members of the NEC at this point were sitting illegally. I read you the Constitution, which says that members of the NEC shall be elected for a term not exceeding 3 years, and shall be eligible for re-election at the completion of each 3-year term. In exceptional circumstances, the NEC may extend the period of office of retiring members for a period not exceeding 6 months, which means that a member can be elected for up to 3 years. In exceptional circumstances, can be extended for up to 6 months, and then he's out. That's it. This is Constitution. You can see for yourself. The Constitution is available on the party website. Now, when it says 3 years, it's 3 years for the one specific mandate. Now, what happens is, say that person A gets selected for 3 years. After 1 year, he decides to resign. There is no one that can take his place, so you have a new election, and someone gets selected to replace this person. Because there were only 2 years left in the term, that person, 3 years, finish after 2 years. Because it's 3 years starting from the members it takes place. I say it is because there is one member to which applies. Now, 13th of November 2015, Alan Bowen and Elizabeth Jones are elected both for 3 years. By the 13th of November 2018, that is 3 years, we should have had new election, but they didn't want election. They refused. They just went, nah, we're comfortable sitting here, no election required. And they carried on. By the time that in July, Bapton was barred from standing, they've been there for 3 years and 8 months. So not only they violated the 3 years, because there was no exceptional circumstances to keep them forward and we should have gone to the NEC election, but they violated even the 6 month. At that point, they should not be there. They should go, bye-bye, you're done, you're expired. Why we wait for election for someone else? You have to stand down, because by constitution, you are sitting there illegally. Who was the third member? Piers Walchop. Another one that was very vocal. I think he was actually the one that started the whole thing against Button, but don't quote me on that hearsay. Anyway, he was elected on the 15th of December 2016 for a term of 2 years. So his term would have finished on the 15th of December 2018. With 6 months, you go to me. By the time Bapton was in bed standing, and they've done all the shenanigans with the leader, they should not have been there. Any decision they have taken has violated the constitution because they should not have been sitting. But let's move forward. At this point, they refuse everyone that has been proposed by Richard Brain, and Kirsten stays as chairman. All communication from Richard must go through Kirsten. People wouldn't want to believe it. When they heard this, they were like, oh no, come on, it can't be possible. You know, the leader should be free. No, the leader was prevented to communicate with us, the members. And just so we're clear, this is not some weird conspiracy theory. There's been screenshots all across Twitter and Facebook and all kinds of social media. There was an email sent by Neil Hamilton in which states clearly that the NEC has the ability to communicate with a member, whereas Richard Brain cannot communicate with a member. He is prevented. Think about it. The leader of the party was prevented to talk to its member and had to send his email to the NEC for approval, which would then decide whether the messages were good enough to come to us. But you're talking about Soviet Russia stuff here. Honestly, Stalin's purge is unbelievable. And on that topic, yeah, the purges began. If I remember correctly, I don't remember the whole extent of the thing. Many people have been removed and keep a full list. It's just impossible. I think the first one to fall was Damian Head at the time with Young Independence. He was very vocal against the NEC and removed. It was then the turn of Peter McIlvenna and Alan Craig. Now, you might agree with them or not. They came up with this whole integrity thing, and the NEC didn't approve of. That is probably a matter for another day, but put it this way, I was there when they created integrity. I was sitting at the table with Peter, Alan, and the third party. And the reason why we're sitting there is because we didn't like the way the party was going. UKIP, the NEC pretty much was doing whatever. They were going anti-democratic, in an anti-democratic manner. And we wanted to restore democracy. We wanted to give something for the people that were living. People at the point that were living every day. Every day you would hear about people resigning, people cancelling their subscription. We wanted to give something for people to look forward to. So we said, you know what, there's the NEC election at the end of the year. Let's get something together and say, guys, please don't leave. There's the NEC election. We still have a chance to regain control and to get rid of these people, once they're seated up, just vote them out. Is how democracy works. And so at this point, they decided to come up with this integrity thing that was meant just to be a banner for people to say, look, if you disagree with the NEC, there's this banner here, and we disagree with them, and we just want to stand at the NEC election against them. Is in no way, shape, or form a UKIP group or whatever. Is external to UKIP. Is literally just a way of us keeping in touch with each other. And that was about it. So the thing is, the NEC obviously didn't like it because we were standing against them. And they decided, you know what, we are going to make integrity, oh God, what's the word? Prescribed. They made integrity a prescribed entity. And at that point, everyone that was associated to integrity was removed. And they were the first two. Bye-bye. It's quite funny because there's other people that were associated with integrity by road admission, but they've never been removed. It looks like they just used the excuse to purge a selective few. Pat Bryant is one of them. I think she will. No, apologise. It wasn't Pat Bryant. Pat Monton. Pat Monton, current interim leader, went up to an integrity meeting. The NEC is aware, and she's never been removed, even though it goes against the rules. It just goes to show how they do whatever they like. Anyway, Damien was removed. Alan and Peter were removed. Meanwhile, Liz Phillips was suspended on trumped-up charges, something that came up one morning, just show up, and they were like, you know what, charges. And she was like, I haven't done any of the sorts. Nah, removed it. Keep in mind that at this point, anyone that disagreed with the NEC was being removed. And not only was removed by the NEC, but was suspended by the chairman using emergency power. Now, how does it work? Because this is funny. If you violate the rules, you go through a disciplinary committee. So the NEC sits down, some of the members there in the disciplinary committee. You're meant to sit down with them, have a hearing, explain yourself, and by the end, if they decide to give you whatever penalty, you know, removal, suspension, you know, fair enough. But you should have an hearing by the NEC. Now, in exceptional circumstances, the chairman is allowed to use her emergency power to have effect immediately. So she goes there and goes, guys, this is an emergency. I need to act now. Removed. Funny enough, everything I've just said has been done all by Kirsten Elliott on emergency power. Now, you say how it works. It works that she does it in emergency, and then the NEC should convene and have a hearing with whoever broke the rule. Do you think this guy ever got a hearing? Removed, emergency, goodbye. And it was a purge. Think about a Stalinist purge. The Knights of the Long Knives. They got there, they decided these people are against us, we want to stay in power, we are removing everyone that disagrees with us. At this point, we get to the National Convention. Members showed up at the National Convention on Warpath. Mind me, those little members that showed up. I think on the first morning I counted it, we were just shy of 200. Shy of 200 people at the National Convention. Anyway, attendance was abysmal. The NEC was heavily criticized. And it just proved pretty much that they wanted power and they were willing to sacrifice everything and everyone to stay in power. Check yourself the videos. There's on the UKIP channel is available the Saturday around 2 hours and 35. There's a QA with my question. I wanted to inquire why they were using double standards. And here we get to the funny bits. You remember earlier when I told you the reason why they told you the button were removed were all lies? Now Neil Hamilton on video says that he has lied 6 months before. Now, it doesn't admit to lying, but it gives completely different results. So basically, when Button was first removed, it tells you that, oh, it was because of his alliance with Tommy Robinson. And then all of a sudden, after I asked my question, he goes, you know, Button was removed because of marketing. What? Yeah, he generally says that. Button has been removed because of marketing. Button, regardless of whether he believed that whatever, yeah, good idea or bad idea, produced bad results, and because he produced bad results, he had brought the party into disrepute. Keep in mind that these are his own words. He says that due to the bad results, he has brought the party into disrepute. This was stated the day before by Piers Walchop when he made a speech, and he was like, you know, Button, and he criticized him heavily, and he said, you know, in the side we had to remove him because he received poor results. Results are not everything. You don't judge the health of the party by the results. You judge the health of the party by the membership. When Button took over, UKIP had less than 17,000 members. When Button was removed, UKIP had 30,000 members. Now, we needed to reorganize, we needed to do lots of things, lots of work needed to be done, but was a healthy party that was acquiring member every day. 30,000 members. The moment the Button left, members went down. I think at this point we're below 15,000. But anyway, let's still take for good what they said. Okay, so you want to tell me that election results, poor election results are crowned for being put in bad standing and removed? Okay, fair enough. It's fun. Button led the European election where UKIP gained 554,000 votes. That is 500,000 votes. He got 3.4%. You say, yeah, he's better compared to the previous one. Yeah, but still, it comes after 3 years where UKIP was done. UKIP vanished for 3 years, and then Button brought it back to life, and he managed to get that with whatever little time he had. Still, 3.4 is very bad. Okay, perfect. In the general election the other day, UKIP has got nationally 22,000 votes. That is 0.1%. Don't you think that if we were to use the same standards to them at this point, people like Neil Hamilton that explained the standard, or Freddie Vacha, the national campaign manager, or Kistan and Piers Vauchop, people that heavily accused Button for his result, should be put in their standing because of this debacle. Well, I bet the rules don't apply to themselves. Anyway, at this point, we get to the NEC election. The Button Brigade decided to present 10 candidates, including Jerome Button. And Button is excluded right away on the ground that he's still in bad standing. This is where she did the fun. The NEC makes the rule for approving the members, the candidates for the NEC election. However, the actual approval is done by the returning officer. So the NEC made the rule, gave them to Jeff Armstrong, the returning officer, and went, okay, these are the rules, you do the approval based on those rules. So he did the approving. And once he had approved the member, he went to HQ to send the mail to the membership to say, guys, these are whoever I have approved. He had to go in person to HQ because there was no other way. Richard Brain was prevented from communicating directly. He had to go through Kirsten Elliott. So at this point, they wanted to ensure that whatever was decided by the returning officer would have got to the members. So they showed up at HQ and they were like, guys, we really need to do these. It's a matter of democracy, and we just say they made the rules. By their rules, I made my decision. These are the members we want to put forward for the NEC election. So they sent out an email. At that point, they sent a correction the day after saying, no, that list was not approved by us. Well, no. The Constitution say that they have nothing to do with that. They can set the rules, but it's a returning officer that decide who goes. So at that point, they could not decide who was approved or not. They went beyond them. The returning officer made a call, and they just prevented democracy by, in a dictatorial manner, and going, nope, we want different. They removed 6 members. A new list was sent, and at that point, the members of the Button Brigade went from down to 3. And they all got elected one by. At this point, everything, I don't know, gets a bit confused because so much happened and it's unbelievable. Because everyone is after Richard. Kirsten is trying to keep her seat and asked to the NEC to change a contract, which they can't do because the chairman is not appointed by the NEC but is appointed by the leader. Richard decides to fire the chairman, which is in his powers. And the chairman goes, nah, I don't care, he is suspended. So Richard fired Kirsten, and Kirsten suspended Richard. In theory, he is the leader, she is the chairman, she should have gone, but no, the NEC again decided we stand with Kirsten, and they suspended the leader. The point is, again, it violates Constitution. Not only there's a problem that he wanted to fire and they prevented it, which should have just occurred. By suspending him, they're making him incapable of acting as leader, which violates Constitution. Why? because in the rules it says that the leader can only be removed via a vote of no confidence. You can check yourself. Is Constitution paragraph 623 to 624. The leader can only be removed via vote of no confidence. They went around it by saying, "Oh, we have not removed it. We have suspended him." Yeah, but if you suspend him, he's incapable of being a leader, which means that matter of fact, you removed him. But let's say, okay, fair enough, you haven't removed him, you suspended him. You're violating the Constitution again. Because the moment that you suspend him, he's incapacitated of acting as a leader, and by the same Constitution, you need to go to a new election. Because if the leader is incapacitated, you need to elect a new one. And so, whichever way you want, yes, we can suspend it. He's incapacitated. You violated the Constitution for electing another one. No, you cannot suspend him because you need a vote of no confidence. They have violated Constitution. What is the problem here? The only way, as I say, would have been vote of no confidence. Why they didn't call it? Because if they call a vote of no confidence, they need at least 9 NEC members to vote in favor of a vote of no confidence. And if the vote fails, all 9 get removed. Basically, these would have gone to an EGM with a party, and the party would have gone, "Guys, who you stand for? You want the NEC or you want Brain?" If the people would have gone, "We want Brain," the NEC would have gone on. So they didn't call an EGM because they were afraid of losing their seat. And so, yeah, in the end, keep in mind that this is done to avoid losing their seat. And this was done by people like Hamilton, the ex-Tory PM that was caught in a bribery scandal. Google Cash for Question, you'll love it. There's a beautiful Guardian article on the topic that calls Hamilton a liar and a cheater. And eventually they managed to install Ben Walker as a chairman, which, funny enough, was caught in a bribery scandal a few years back when he tried to bribe Bolton in order to get a chairman position. So these are the people that you now have leading the party. People that are actually being caught for corruption. And this is why the members are calling for an EGM, because they want to get rid of a corrupt NEC and a corrupt leadership that has violated half the Constitution. Best of luck, guys. I'm out.